Yes! These are amazing! Perfect! Hi everybody, I hope you're well. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I created these photographs of my friend Demi. Using off-camera flash and this bubble gun. So, let's crack on. So, as with this video which I created with Demi, where I shot through tin foil, this video is actually a shoot for a Flashmaster tutorial. This is going to be part 2 of my Something from Nothing series for Flashmasters members, where I show you how I can create interesting, creative portraits where I'm not relying on anything from the external environment. Everything in these photographs is coming from my camera and my off-camera lights. That's it. And this is part 2 of that. So if you're not aware, Flashmasters is the brand that my partner Helen and I set up 3 years ago now, and we offer our members awards, community and education. And education is at the heart of everything that we do. My personal favourite part of our education are Flashmaster tutorials, which are dedicated videos from the best photographers in the world, all split up into chapters to help you grow your business and teach you specific photography techniques. To give you an example, we currently have on the Flashmasters website my full hour and 15-minute long introduction to off-camera flash tutorial, in which I go through everything that I know to get you started with off-camera flash from the very, very basics, and that is available to all Flashmasters members, including free members. So you don't need to pay to watch that one. You just join on a free membership and you can watch that entire tutorial. Plus, for pro members, we have so much content. We have images with impact with Chris Benavides, creative portraits with Big H Studios and Christian Cardona, bridal portraits with Natalie Martin, how to shoot in midday sun with Moira and Jessie LaPlante, halo pat portraits with Drew Dodd, how to shoot champagne spray with Jeff Tisman, how to take epic portraits in boring locations with Arnaud de Brown, how to shoot sparklers with Scott Jones-White, how to shoot astrophotography portraits with Jesse and Darlin, how to shoot wedding rings with George Pompilio, how to film and edit behind the scenes content for Reels and TikToks with myself, and last but not least, how to shoot the dance floor with our very own Helen Williams. So all that is there and waiting for you when you join us on a pro membership. And that's not even counting all our live streams, which we've now got over 100 hours of live streams, how I shot interviews, interview with suppliers, so much for you to watch as soon as you join. And today's video is going to be an example of what you can expect in Flashmasters tutorials. So I'm going to go into Flashmasters mode and now start this tutorial off. So this is me in Flashmasters mode. Hi everyone, welcome to the second tutorial of my Flashmaster tutorial series, Something from Nothing. In these tutorials, I am showing you setups, techniques and ideas to help you produce creative portraits when the venue or the location that you're shooting in is, well, pretty boring. I've been a wedding photographer for over 20 years now, and whilst I've been lucky enough to shoot in lots of absolutely stunning and beautiful venues, I've also shot in places which, well, let's just say they don't offer as much. Thankfully though, with the techniques that I show you in this series, all of which utilize off-camera lighting, you can create beautiful and unique images almost anywhere. And please see these setups just as a starting point. Always experiment with them and take them in your own creative directions. In this particular tutorial, Something from Nothing 2, I will be showing you how I created these portraits of my friend Demi with off-camera flash and a bubble gun. The fact that these images were all taken in my garage also proves that you don't need a pretty location to take these photographs. As well as showing you the full behind the scenes video of this shoot, in the final chapter of this tutorial, I will show you exactly how I edited one of my favourite photographs from this shoot in Lightroom. And as always, if you do try any of the techniques that you see in this series yourself, please do share your images in the Flashmasters Facebook group. I would love to see them. So over to me, Helen and Demi in the garage. So I'm just going to talk you through my setup now. Oh, should just say, sorry, big thank you to Demi as always for helping me do this. These shoots are very much a team effort, and as you'll see in these videos, I'm not asking Demi to actually do anything. She's bringing all the cool posing. I'm lighting Demi in this video with the MagBox Pro 24 with a Godox V100 in there, and I do have the grid on the MagBox. That is because I don't want the light to hit the background. So if I didn't have the grid, that light would come out of the MagBox and bounce around a lot more, but in effect that would be lighting the environment, and the whole point of these videos in this series is I don't want to light the environment, so I'm keeping the grid on so that the light comes out, hits Demi, then doesn't hit the background. Also note the positioning of the softbox. I've got it a little bit more side on to Demi than I sometimes do, and that's a little bit further away than I sometimes have it, and that is because when we use the bubbles, I want to fill this space with the bubbles. So the light's a little bit further away, but it's still relatively very, very close to Demi. And as I always say, the reason for that is that the light, when it's this close, becomes larger in size relative to Demi, so that creates a softer light. The contrast between the light and the shadow on Demi's face will blend into each other really nicely. Plus, and this is the biggest thing for me, we get really good fall off. So what fall off means is when the light leaves the softbox, hits Demi, it then will not travel too far before it starts just to fade away into nothing. If we had that softbox further away, the fall off would travel further. It would hit Demi, it will still be having an effect right down to the bottom. But if you want dramatic portraits, you want a quick fall off. So to get the quick fall off, have your light source nice and close. So that's our very basic first off setup. I will be introducing other lights, but we'll go with that for now. And then in the next chapter, when I start shooting, that's when we'll add in more lights. Should just say as well before we finish this chapter that I am on my Viltrox 85mm f1.4 lens. It's a beautiful, beautiful lens for portraits, and I will be taking these shots at 1.4. So that's the setup for now. So we'll now start shooting. Okay, so this is the gun that I'm going to be using to make the bubbles. It's just a cheap gun bought off Amazon, but as you can see, it kicks out a lot of bubbles. Now, obviously today I'm shooting just Demi, but I have done this and used a very, very similar setup with couples before, as I'll show you on the screen now. And if I was doing this with couples, I just would like them to face each other, laughing and joking, and just get some nice expression. With Demi, I'm going to try something a bit different, a bit more like edgy, I think. But yeah, the gun itself is only like £10, $10 off Amazon, and then you're good to go. So I'm going to pass this to Helen. So before we start shooting, I'm going to take a base exposure without my lights being turned on. So I'm going to go to 250th. So I don't want to be in high speed sync for this because I do want to take shots quite quickly because the bubbles are falling, so I want to shoot quite rapidly. I do want to shoot a wide aperture, so I'm going to go to f1.4. If I can get away with it, I might not be able to. And my ISO is at 50. So without any lights on, except for the lights are on in the room, we get, you can see there, it's a completely, well, there's a little tiny outline of Demi. So the ambient light in the room is not affecting this exposure. It will, however, make it easier for me to focus. So I'm going to leave that light on, if that's okay, Helen. Power-wise, I'm going to put the V100 as a guess at 1/16th. Let's just take a shot first. Again, we've not going to use the bubble. That looks nice. As you can see, that the only light source we can see here is from that light. Now, I don't think when we add the bubbles in, we're going to see the bubbles very clearly because we will need a backlight. But let's just see what we get. That's it. We're going to let them just bubbles drop. Cool, Demi. Really good. Perfect. Okay, that gives us a shot with a lot of potential, but we obviously need to make tweaks. The first thing I want to do is drop my speedlight power in A, which is the MagBox, the V100 in the MagBox, from 1/16th to 132 or even 64. Let's go to 64. Let's just do a quick test shot here of just of ambient. 3, 2, 1. Yes, that's really nice. It was a bit too strong before. The other thing which I'm going to do is put my shutter into medium burst mode, because when I'm in low I can only take a shot with each press. As you'll be able to see now, I'll be able to keep my finger down and take a lot more, and everyone will go off because that speed light is only at 164 power. So in the next chapter, I'm going to add 2 more speed lights, one behind Demi on the left and one behind Demi on the right. That will backlight the bubbles and should give us something a lot more dramatic. So here are 2 speed lights now behind Demi. They are both Godox V860s. This will be C on this side, because when I look from it over there, it'll be A, B, and then C. That's going to go here. No gel or modifier on these at all as yet. We will change that. This is B, that's good. And they're both behind Demi, pointing in towards her. My plan is to not include them in the shot, but they will be lighting the bubbles as they fall down. So let's see what we get with B and C on now without introducing the bubbles. So I'm going to put both of those lights on 132 power just to see what that gives us. Yeah, so you can't see the speed lights. That's looking good. They're a bit too strong, so let's go down to 64. So all 3 lights you can see here are on 164 power. I'm going to actually just look up towards that light, Demi, if that's okay. Yeah, that's going to be cool. Let's just go in close. Yeah, light on Demi's nice. There's a chance at B, the light on the left, is maybe a little bit too strong. And B is a fraction closer to Demi. So with B, I'm going to put that down to 128 power. Perfect. Right, okay. I will now ask Helen to start the bubbles again, and I will move this camera back to where it was. Okay, Helen, if you want to let that go. Again, I'm just going to wait a few seconds for the bubbles to fall. Yeah, cool. Really good. Perfect, Demi. Just looking up for me. That's good. Love that, Demi, where you're looking up like that. That's cool. I am taking shots very, very quickly because the bubbles are constantly moving. Nice. Perfect. So just critiquing these photographs, I'm really pleased with them. We can again improve them. But for now, I think this is a great point to be at. So one thing that I'm noticing is that the majority of the bubbles are on this side, the right-hand side of Demi as I look at her. So to try and even them out, I'm going to ask Helen to come a little bit forward. That's good. And yeah, and move across because we want an even spread. Also notice how fast I'm shooting. That is because I don't want to get the one and the bubble just be over Demi's eye in the wrong place or something, so I'm shooting fast. That's why I didn't want to be into high-speed sync. Also, should just say, you may struggle with focus when you're shooting through the bubble, so my advice is to get your focus and then try and stay still. I'm using back button focus. If you're not aware of back button focus, please watch my introduction to off-camera flash tutorial because I talk about it there. But back button focus will definitely help you in this scenario. So I want to get my focus, then take my finger off focus and then just keep on pressing the shutter button. Okay, should we try this? You got this. Boom. So got my focus. This is better. Yeah, perfect. Looking up towards that light, Demi. Amazing. Perfect, perfect, thank you. We've got those. That worked really, really well. What I'll now do is add some colour to the speed lights that are behind Demi to really give this shot impact, and we'll do that in the next chapter. So as I mentioned, I'm going to add some colour now to the speed lights behind Demi. I've got a lavender, don't want that to be lavender. I've got purple and a half CTB gel, which is basically blue, and I like the idea of this being really cool. I used similar lights on this Flashmaster tutorial which I did with Demi, again part 1 of my Something from Nothing series, where I was shooting through tin foil, and I really like the look of the coolness in the foreground, so I'm going to use the same colours here. Now these will take a little bit of power away from the speed lights, but I don't think enough that it will be a problem. Going to just increase the height of this one so it's the same. So I'm going to keep all my settings exactly the same. At the moment we've got A, which is the V100 in the MagBox, that is on 164 power. B and C are on 128 power. Okay, I think we are good to go. Yo, these are cool. Yes, Demi. Love it. Perfect. Okay, that was epic. Thank you, Demi. The only reason I stopped there is because I think we've got a great shot already, and I now want to shoot in portrait. But if I do that, I'm going to have to refocus, and you don't want to refocus while the bubbles are falling down because your camera will struggle. So we're going to do the exact same thing again. The setup looked really good. Demi was perfect. I'm going to go a bit further back. Quick test shot. And when you're doing that, Demi, if you can be looking up towards that light for some of them, yeah, that's it, perfect. Okay, when you're ready, Helen. Very cool. Yes. Epic. Oh, perfect, perfect.
Just to remind you, all the images that you see in this video were edited with my Lightroom preset pack, which you can purchase from my website. The pack contains my base presets, 26 magic masks, and 18 brushes, as well as a 2-hour editing tutorial video in which I show you exactly how I use the tools in the preset pack to edit 100 photographs in Lightroom.
Demi is so good at this. I'm so pleased what we've just got. Let's just make sure they are in focus. Yes, they are. All I want to do is increase my ISO. I've gone to ISO 80, 200 my shutter speed now, and I go a little bit closer this time. Yeah, okay, when you're ready. Stunning. Oh yes, Demi. They were brilliant. Just doing that with your hair again, if that's all right. Yes, perfect. Okay, thank you. Demi is so good at this. I said this in the last Flashmaster tutorial where I shot through tinfoil, but I've been shooting Demi for years now, and she's incredible. She's the model I've shot with more than any other, but this is probably one of the only times I've ever shot Demi not in bridle. So seeing Demi sort of let off the leash and just going for it with these cool poses is amazing. Honestly, so pleased with these. So in the next chapter, I'm going to shoot the exact same portraits, but on my Sigma 105 1.4, the beast. So I'm now on the Sigma 105 1.4. This lens is huge, but when it comes to portraits, it's probably about the best lens that I own. Now, because it's such a long focal length, I'm going to come further back. I'm not going to change anything else with my settings. So again, 1/200th of a second, f1.4 ISO 80, and speedlight A, the V100 in the MagBox on 64 power. And the other two lights that are behind Demi, one has a blue gel, one has a purple gel, are both on 128. As always, going to take a quick test shot before we let the bubbles go. Perfect. Okay, when you're ready, Helen.
Let's go!
Stunning, Demi. These are amazing. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to pause there. Love that we've just done. I'm going to come a bit closer now. I'm going to portrait. Again, the reason I'm stopping in between is because it's very hard to refocus through the bubbles. So I'm pausing the bubbles, then we carry on. Okay, I've got my focus now, yeah. And looking up, it's that's it, yes. These are amazing. Perfect. Demi, they are incredible. Love what we've got now. I do have shots that I love in focus, but there are also some that are not in focus. That is because I'm at 1.4. So to give yourself that little bit more leeway, I'm going to shoot now at say 2.8. Now that will mean that I have to rejig the rest of my setup. So because I'm at 2.8, I'm going to go higher with my flash power. So let's put A on a 16th. B can go to 32, as can C. Remember, we're going to take a test shot first before the bubbles come. I'm going to increase my ISO to 160. Let's just see what that gives us. That's a bit too strong, so I'm going to go to ISO 100. That is good. A is maybe a bit too strong, so let's put all our lights on 132. And 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's good. Okay, when you're ready, Helen, so we're at 2.8 now. Yes. Just looking up again, Demi, if you can. That's the ones. Yeah, I've just seen it come up. Love it. Perfect. Let me just check these. Yeah, perfect. Tack sharp. Okay.
Bubbles in her eyes. I thought you got something in your eyes.
Okay, Helen, again, pre-focusing. Yes. These are stunning. Looking up. Perfect. Thank you very, very much. Absolutely loving what we've got on this shoot. Remember, this just goes to show you what you can do when you are literally creating something from nothing. We're not using any pre-existing light, nothing from the environment. We're bringing everything to this. Literally something from nothing with off-camera flash, with bubbles, with our camera, and of course with incredible modeling from Demi. So what I'm now going to do is pass you over to me in Lightroom, where I'm going to edit 1 or 2 of my favorite photographs from this tutorial. And to everybody watched on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. So if you watch this tutorial on Flash Masters, you can now watch me editing 1 or 2 of my favorite photographs from this shoot. But again, I want to say a massive thank you to Demi, who's been incredible, to Helen for filming this for me, and for all your skills with the bubble machine. And as always, if you have any questions about anything during this video, please let me know in the comments. The full tutorial is over at flashmasters.co. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.